And here's Coach right there. Coach, if I said to you the over and under of you watching that is 100 times since last December, would you go over or under?
That particular clip has got to be up there. The actual game, no, but those moments have been relived in this part of central New York quite a few times.
I bet. And by the way, and we probably had kicked this around before when we've had you on, but I've always found it interesting with coaches coming off a championship season of what you do, not your team, what you do to make sure that, hey, guys, stay grounded. That was last year's team. I mean, you know what? They can't take that one away from us, and we're not defending anything. We're trying to go out and win another one. That whole process for you, what's that been like since that championship?
You want, as a coach, you want your players, you want your staff, you want your fans to enjoy it. So really, I hope they have. As coaches, we quickly kind of turn the page and start stressing about the next team and the next journey. Now, college sports, there's so much turnover. So even from that team, 15 players that were on that squad, 9 players who played in that championship game against Indiana are no longer with us. So there is a freshness, there is a newness. The same with the 2 new additions to our coaching staff and 1 coach moving on. So I think some of it is natural, but you're right. You want your guys to enjoy it, but now the new season's upon us. A new journey, new team, and that challenge and that excitement that comes with a new season.
You did mention that number 15 because you do have 15 new players on your roster. And when you're going out in the portal and bringing in the high school guys, the young guys, how do you fast forward and quickly gel together? I know that's part of what preseason's all about, but getting this team on the same page as you embark on this journey, how do you do that?
There's no shortcuts. There's no short fix for that. It's going through the process. We were fortunate. We brought some guys in January. We were on an international trip. We could take a couple of guys to England with us in May. That was a benefit. And then with some new guys here. So you're right, 50 new guys. And you said 14 of those are transfers. One freshman, Ezra, this year. So it is an atypical recruiting class. We know that. But we've got a good returning group that it was one of those that we thought we got a good group, and if we could fill the holes and add some depth, and we haven't, it's tough to fill the shoes of a Nate Opoku, Levante Johnson, the Byroses, Sheelys, Anthony Sinclair you saw take that final penalty. But we've got some newness and some freshness to the group that I really like.
Opoku and Johnson, you just mentioned their names, and those 2 were transfers that were critical in making this championship run last year. And the 14 new transfers, how have you learned to navigate the portal for what's best for Syracuse soccer?
To bring in a first team and a third team All-American with Levante and Nate, I'm not sure you can bank on that every year. The transfer portal kind of giveth and taketh away for most programs. It's a little bit of speed dating and making sure it's the right fit. Not just talent. We know that there's talented players out there, but the right fit for our locker room and from a culture perspective, from a character perspective, getting that right is an important part. And look, that will be. I'm very impressed with our group. We spend, it's a good group that have invested. Look, we realise that there's some talented guys that have just turned up on our campus that we will will need to sacrifice for our team, and we think we've got a good group of student athletes to complement some talent returning from last year as well.
All right, Coach, this is a 2-part question. Going down the roster, I see Portugal, Italy, Canada, Germany, France, Spain, Sweden, and the United States. 2-part question. Number 1, when does your passport expire? And number 2, we talk about communication all the time. I know soccer is the world sport, but how does the communication work when you have 8 different countries represented on the roster?
I like having a diverse locker room. I've always had that at Syracuse and Hartwick prior to that, and Oneonta State. It is a world's game. And so, yeah, look, the common language is the round ball. But it's the most important thing is having our cultural architects or our players on the field, and more importantly in the locker room. Our older guys, they set the standard, and I know that they're creating a great environment to bring in some of these new guys as well. So yes, a diverseness. Last fall was fun playing during the World Cup as well. Having the Women's World Cup going on now as well. There's been some interesting dialogue between players, and this weekend with Spain playing England as well, it continues. So yeah, a diverse locker room, but it doesn't matter where the guys are from. These are good young men that really buy into what we're trying to do here at Syracuse and take tremendous pride in representing Syracuse University.
Coach, what about style? I mean, we don't even. I mean, again, I'm a novice in the world of soccer, but how about the style? I mean, we sit here at home and flip on the tube and we're watching the Premier League and all that stuff. It's very different than what we're watching here in the States, even though it's still soccer. But on this level, how do you incorporate that as far as you got this incredible diverse collection of players from all over the world? How does style come into play?
From a soccer perspective, yeah, absolutely. But it's also how they dress. It's how they communicate at times. We've got diversity, but we use the preseason, we use the spring to kind of lay down our foundations. Our expectations for all of our players, be that a freshman from Massachusetts or New Jersey versus a player, if it was Nate Opoku from Ghana last year, or Anthony Sinclair from Costa Rica. The expectations for our players and ensuring that communication and our standards are laid out, and then just ensuring that we've got that communication and an authentic communication as well between our coaching staff and our players most importantly. So and being patient, and coaches, we're not traditionally good at that, but ensuring that we're not the finished article right now. We won't be on Thursday when we open up, and we're going to hopefully grow and evolve as the season wears on.
You guys are undefeated in these exhibition games, already played 2. So from your perspective, what have you loved about your team that you're really impressed with, and something that you've learned from these 2 games that you really want to hone in and focus on? I know you're going to say everything, but something in particular moving forward.
I've been impressed with the energy, the enthusiasm we've brought with the new group, and playing our brand of soccer, being brave and being, we've got big challenges coming up, and we're taking these we've got another game tomorrow, and then we'll open up against Providence next Thursday. We've got a lot of work ahead of us, but what I've enjoyed is that our locker room is taking shape. So yeah, we've got talent, and practices have been good, but it's those, it's the time away from that, those interactions, and proud of how our returning players have kind of opened their arms to our new guys, but they've also set the standards very high, and the expectations for this group, ensuring what a Syracuse player, how they handle themselves on the field, off the field, and certainly within our Syracuse community.
Coach, I have been, the best thing I've ever done in my life was, number one, meet my wife and have 2 girls. So I've got 2 daughters that I love to death, and they're now 26 and soon to be 25 respectively. And I remember about 10 years or so ago, when they jumped in the old Ford F-150 learning to drive, I'm like, oh my God, just get me through this. And I couldn't help but notice that on social media, you're living the dream, my man. So how'd this work out?
Look at that. I've been asked, all the questions about, how challenging is it to have the, all the new guys. The terrifying part of my preseason is that Lila Jean is turned 16. She just passed her driving test a lot sooner than her father did. Didn't take as many times as I took, and now she's on the open road. So that's the scary part. All this other stuff's really easy. But you're right. It's like, when we started this, we came to Syracuse. She was a toddler. She was a 3-year-old, and now here she is going into her junior year. And Dad is, that's the terrifying part about going into this new season.
Well, I could see you riding shotgun and slamming that invisible brake over there on the passenger side. I could see you right now doing that.
She wanted no part of me. I was apparently, and I quote my daughter, I'm too coachy when it comes to being in a car with her.
I wonder why.
That's just fatherly love, Coach. That's all that is.
Awesome.
That is all it is, man.
That's great.
Listen, we wish you nothing but the best. Again, you're not defending anything. You're going to go out there and try to win another one, that the league is going to be loaded again. But we can't wait to see how this all unfolds. But again, congratulations.
Thanks, guys. Thanks for all your support.